Hello, welcome to the Ascendancy podcast for episode 20. My name is Chris. I'm joined by Austin per usual. And as you can see, we have a very, very special guest today. The man, the myth, the legend, Gary Yourofsky is here. We cannot name anyone who's had more influence over the modern vegan movement than this man right here. Gary directly influenced Austin and I to become vegan and to become activists years ago through watching his viral speech, the best speech you will ever hear, available right here on YouTube. And he's influenced hundreds of thousands more globally to become vegan and to become activists for the animals as well. So welcome.
Thanks for having me on, guys. I totally appreciate it. Yeah.
Anyway, we're honored and so grateful to have some of your time, Gary, and welcome to the Ascendancy podcast. And if you could, please tell the listeners about yourself, your, vegan story and activism journey.
So you want it all, huh? Okay, well, listen, I didn't plan on this. I was like most people growing up. I was living in my own world thinking I was an animal lover because I love dogs and cats, or I like squirrels and bunny rabbits and penguins. You'll notice that it's easy to love the animals that you're not exploiting, that you're not eating, that you're not wearing. And then it hit me like a ton of bricks because my stepdad was a clown in the circus. I think a lot of people have heard me talk about this. He took me backstage. I saw an elephant in chains at the Michigan State Fairgrounds, and it just stopped me dead in my tracks. I didn't understand exactly what was going on, but I knew that was one sad elephant. She was swaying back and forth neurotically, and I walked up to her, and I made a promise that day that I would tell everybody about her plight, and I've kept that promise. It led me to a slaughterhouse, Thornapple Valley Pig Slaughterhouse in Eastern Market area of Detroit. I saw pigs in trucks waiting to be called in to be murdered, and I was still an animal murderer at that time myself. I was stubborn as they come, but I wasn't fighting it. I was just stubborn. I wasn't arguing. I was crying. I was looking at them in the truck, and their eyes were screaming at me, "Why are you doing this to us?" And in my head, I'm answering, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, 1995 hits, and I get call up a sports radio station, WDFN in Detroit, because my hometown hockey team, the Red Wings, have an absurd tradition about throwing dead octopuses on the ice during the playoffs. Got on the air, and I complained and screamed, and the host, Greg Henson, doesn't know who he created and what he created because he challenged me and said, "What did you have for dinner last night?" I knew what he meant. And one of my best traits is that I never lie. And the truth about this statement is you can see and hear the things that I've said before, and I get myself in trouble because I speak my mind. I'm not a politician. I don't sugarcoat anything. At that moment, I lied and said a salad. Typical meat eater. I thought all vegans just eat salads. But he listened to me and he backed down. And by the end of my 2-minute call, I felt so guilty about lying. I'm showing my age right now. I had the receiver in my hand of the landline phone. And as I was hanging it up, I said, "That's the shortest lived lie ever." I slammed the phone down, and I never ate a piece of meat again. Now, I was still a vegetarian, though. Didn't know about the other stuff. And I went to the March for Animals in '96 in Washington, D.C. Group of people from Texas came in, Texans for Animal Rights on their shirts. And I jumped up. I said, "Hey, I'm Gary from Michigan. How you guys doing?" They said, "Hey, Gary, where can we get a good veggie burger?" I said, "The Hard Rock Cafe right down the street. It's great. I just had it." They said, "But it's not vegan." So, what do you think happens to mother cows when they can't give milk? Oh, that's verbatim. My response was, "Oh." I bring this up because we've all been through this where people want to argue with us after we tell them the truth. I understand being misinformed and uninformed and not knowing. But I don't understand when the truth is being spoken that you don't accept it. Because my response after not knowing was, "Oh, how did I miss that?" And that was July 96. This is July 2025, 29 years vegan. I decided to become active in 96, that I could not be silent anymore. And I went out and started running the gamut of activism. I tried everything. I was doing civil disobedience, getting arrested, chaining my neck to my car was one of my favorite tactics, and using my car to block some entranceway. 97, I broke into that mink murdering camp in Canada. I liberated 1,542 mink. I tried contacting the media, doing media interviews and letters to the editor and lobbying, and then it hit me with education. Actually, some teachers called me after I got out of prison, or after I got arrested originally in 97 for the mink liberation. And when I was in the classroom, nobody said, "Fuck you, get a life" to me, which is all I heard on the street during my street protest. And I realized education was the best form of activism. So that was the avenue that I ended up taking.
Wow. Yeah, that's an amazing story, Gary. It's just really cool hearing what influenced you to change, and then, down the line, all the people you've influenced as a result. And, like you said, when you saw that elephant in that circus, it really ingrained for you. You felt their pain as your own, and you made it your mission, right, to tell her story or his story, and you've done that.
I think all vegans feel the pain of the animals, and sometimes I think certain people have a compassion gene and others don't, because I've been trying to figure out why some people get it, some people listen, and some people don't. I don't know exactly what the answer is. I don't know if that's true. It's just me pondering why are some people so receptive. But when you see it, I don't know how you ignore it. When you hear their cries, I don't know how you remain silent. So if you're vegan, that's a great thing. Obviously, that's what I want from everybody, if you're living that way. But it's also important to be active. We have to speak out on behalf of these animals. They're never going to be liberated unless everybody does their part. And I did my part, and I don't want people to think you can't accomplish what I accomplished. A lot of people look at me like Superman. I appreciate the accolades, but that's not why I did it, for adoration. I was determined. I bring up this word because I've had a lot of haters over the years. And one person sent me an email back in the day, and she was trying to insult me and said, "Oh, you don't know more than anyone else. You just think you're special. The only thing that makes you more successful is you're just more determined than anyone else." Okay. Okay. Well, how is this a bad thing? True. I was more determined. I am determined. That's what led me on this path. That's why I contacted thousands of professors around the country. I would pick an area. It didn't matter where I was going, New York, California, Texas, whatever city I picked. I'd find 3, 4, 5, or 6 colleges in that area. I went to the website. Sometimes it took me 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours to grab every email. And all I did was say, "Hey, my name's Gary Yourofsky. I've been to jail 13 times. I support violence." I wanted everything to be out there and open. I didn't want anybody to feel like I was ambushing them. And it was simple. It was 2 paragraphs. And I just said, "Can I come speak in your class? Very important topic. And by the way, it's free." So there were a lot of things that worked for my lecture. But one of the comments I always got back from the professors was, "We never met a real activist. Wait, we only read about them. Wait, you've been to jail 13 times. You freed mink. What?" Yeah, and so, yeah, please come to my class. And the clincher was that it was free, of course, because they were hemming and hawing at that point. "Well, let me see what the budget will allow." I said, no budget. It's free. You say yes, I'll find my way there. So from basically in the late 90s, I was doing talks just in Michigan and Ohio. I didn't have money to travel. I did about 111 talks. But then 2002 hit. I went full-time lecturing. I haven't done a street demonstration since 2000, haven't gotten arrested since 2000, haven't done anything else but education-based activism, because that's where it's at. My first semester in 2002, I only had 37 lectures. I had just started sending all these emails. Second semester, though, jumped to 76. And from there on out, I was doing 100 or more talks every semester. So I averaged at least 200 a year. One year I did 263. Mind you, I was rarely doing 1 lecture a day. I lived on the road for about 8 months every year. And most of the talks, I was doing 2, 3, 4, 5 talks in one day. A couple days I did 6. One day I did 7. One day I did 8 lectures in one day. I couldn't be stopped. If I was in that town and somebody wanted to hear me, I would do it all day long from 7:30 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. And then I jump in the car, drive 8 hours to the next city, as long as I can get there and it was feasible. I never slept well. I only slept about 2 hours a night for the past 25 years. I'm trying to pick that up lately, getting 4, maybe 5 hours a night. But I was a machine back in the day, and I was determined, and I couldn't stop. And at that time too, understand, I was tired of the socialization, the socializing in this movement. Too much of it, too much hanging out. And I like hanging out when the day is done. But everybody was hanging out and not doing enough activism for me. So I broke away from everybody. I said, I'm going to do what I can do. I'm a man of action. Sometimes if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. And that's what I decided. And my only focus were those students in the classroom. 25 students, 50 students, 100 students, or 500 students for the whole day. I was just going to reach whoever I could reach. And the results were fantastic. I'm not saying this to brag. I want to encourage people. If you present the issue right, you'd be surprised how many people will listen. Average, I was converting 50% of every crowd. At minimum, the professor said 15 to 20%. And you want to talk about a success, because this is the hardest social justice movement in existence. I have to teach people to be nice to chickens in 60 minutes, and I was doing it. And I saw change happen before my eyes. I wish other people were there. Mind you, we already talked about this. I'm ancient. I was around before the internet. I was around before people documented everything. I only have about 10, maybe 15 of these lectures on video. It just wasn't my thing. I was just focusing on the crowd. But I saw people start out like this with arms crossed every lecture. I heard the snickering. It was, fucking vegans here. I gotta listen to this fucking vegan shit. Should have brought a hamburger in. Should have brought my dad's deer head in. I wasn't mad though, understand. I was the same way. I wasn't mad at anybody before a lecture because they were ignorant and I was gonna inform them. So it started off like this, but 10 minutes in, arms come uncrossed. About 15 minutes in, I dropped that slaughterhouse video, which usually subdues everybody. And after the slaughterhouse video, a lot of times one hand was over the head. I was told by some psychologist, this is a submissive position, like, uh-oh, you got me. And I saw it started here, went here. And then I dropped some humor. I always thought about my speeches as a militant comedy roast because I have two heroes, Malcolm X and George Carlin. So I'd hit them with the militancy as hard as I could, and then I dropped some humor. There's truth in humor. So I had them laughing and giggling and pointing out the absurdity of all the stuff that they were doing. And by the end of the speech, it was like both arms are open or they're just wide open, leaning over their desk, like, tell me more, wait. And then most of the time, the question at the end, which I wanted, was, okay, what am I supposed to eat tomorrow? Okay, let me tell you, that's why I'm here, because I know it's difficult. Back in 95, when I went vegetarian, I lived off of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for 3 months, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I was a typical meat eater. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to eat, but I knew I didn't want to eat my animal friends anymore. And I would have eaten PB&J for the rest of my life. But after 3 months, I'm thinking, come on, there's something else out there, right? And, lentils. Beans are a meal. Grains are a cool meal, right? Barley and millet. Seeds like quinoa can be boiled like grains, and delicious stuff. And fruits and vegetables are a meal. So there was so much to eat once I realized, and old habits are hard to break. New habits are hard to form. I get it. That's why PB&J for 3 months. But once you get over the hump, once I got over the hump, it was easy. And I can't tell you how many times I've been stuck in rural America after a long day of lecturing. Didn't realize the town closed down at 8 o'clock. I'd finish my 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock class, and I'd try to go get something to eat. I'm like, hey, everything's closed except 7-Eleven. But you know what? Once you know what's vegan, you could put something together. Not my favorite meal, but I go grab some peanut butter, grab some rich crackers or some potato chips, a bag of cashews, some raisins. Right? You could always find something. So when people also tell me, it's too difficult. Oh, shut the hell up. You're not putting effort in. Put some effort in. It's everywhere once you know what's there, once you're informed.
Absolutely. We were just doing an episode on what are the character traits of people who go vegan, and one of them that came up for us is personal accountability. And your story of how you changed, and eating peanut butter and jelly sandwich, that's a very small adversity in life. You have people saying, oh, I can't go vegan because I have a sensory issue with food, or I can't eat my favorite food, or something like this. And, I think it's rooted in a very strong feeling of empathy. Like, people like you, people like us, people that really get the message and go vegan, we don't just see what's happening to the animals, we felt, what was happening to them. And I think when we see this reality and we, feel that suffering through their eyes, we're not going to, sit back and let this happen, but instead we're going to adopt sort of like a warrior ethos and do everything in our power. And I think that's really, the legacy that you've had on activists is instilling that sort of warrior ethos and saying, go out there, get it, don't be passive, hit them hard with a message. And that's really what resonated with me.
Caring takes effort. There's no doubt. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but I'm willing to put in the extra effort, just like you guys are, just like every vegan on this planet is, to make sure that somebody isn't exploited, that somebody doesn't suffer and die for me. Because quite frankly, I don't think I'm that important, that anyone should suffer and die on my behalf, especially innocent beings who have never done anything to us. That irks me the most. Cows, pigs, chickens, and turkeys, and fish, they have literally never done anything to human beings, never oppressed us. They haven't attacked us. They haven't waged war against us. We've waged war on them. We're the attackers. We're the victimizers. So the least we can do is return the favor. They've never attacked us, so I'm not going to take advantage of them anymore. And yeah, once you put in the effort, once you think about what they're going through, put yourself in the victim's position. That was something I asked the crowd to do. Stop thinking like a victimizer. It's easy to rationalize cruelty, slavery, and injustice if you're thinking, oh, that victim doesn't matter. But now, if you're the victim, put yourself in their position. Who do you want speaking on your behalf? Me or you? Making up excuses for cruelty, making up excuses not to kill. A lot of times I ended my speech with, so what's your excuse now? Because I laid it out. If you don't go, if you didn't go vegan after my speech, or you don't become vegan after watching Earthlings, I hate to say it, but you're just a dickhead. You are just a dick. I laid it out in perfect detail, and Earthlings put it out visually. And by the way, Earthlings is so brutal and rough, I've never even watched it. I got through 5 or 10 minutes. I'm like, turn this shit off. I already get it. I've seen it. Good God. Now, who could watch that and not become vegan? I mean, you're just a hardened, callous motherfucker. I hate it. I mean, that's just the honest truth. And yes, for the activists out there, don't sugarcoat anything. Don't play a politician. I'll repeat again what the professor said to me. We've never met anybody so open and willing to talk about what they believe in and how they feel. People love the truth, honestly. Even if they can't handle it, they appreciate a non-politician. And that's what I based all my style on, is I'm going to tell you how I feel. And I'm going to speak for them. Keep in mind, a lot of people think, oh, I'm a spokesperson for the animal rights movement. No, I'm not. I'm a spokesperson for animals. I speak for them like I would want to be spoken for if I were in their position. And that's all I ever did. And look at the success that I had by being truthful, by hitting people with the harsh truth, by not letting them off the hook. And that Georgia Tech speech, it is my gift that I gave to the world. Not saying this to brag, because I haven't done anything else besides my animal rights stuff. This is the only gift that I can give to this world, as I went out there and figured out a way to present the issue to everybody so they would understand it. And it was years in the making. It was in my head. And in 2010, when it was recorded, I mean, that was the prime of my activism. I started in '96. By then, I was freestyling. I was just letting my thoughts flow out. Not a lot of written stuff anymore. When I first started, I would write everything down. By then, I just had, 15, 20, 30 different versions in my head. And it's crazy how my brain works, because as I was speaking, depending on how the crowd was reacting, I could look at 30, 40 different paragraphs at one time. As I'm speaking, not missing a beat, going, I'm going to grab this section, or like I would have titles in my head, focus on the victims, dog out the victimizers, bring up cows on dairy farms having their babies stolen. Use this example. And I would just be grabbing everything and just dropping it. And I would force myself to, at that time, to freestyle on purpose. In fact, in that Georgia Tech speech, I don't know if people know, but after the video, and keep in mind, I had to watch that fucking video 2,660 times myself. I wasn't going to walk out of the classroom and make them watch it. That wouldn't be fair. So I had to sit there and watch the slaughterhouse stuff, all the evil things, and it would just rile me up. I learned to channel my sadness, so I'd be sad later on. I'd just be angry at the moment, and anger is a great tool if you can utilize it properly. And I'd say, just tell them something. And when that when that Georgia Tech slaughterhouse footage ended, I came out with, there are 5,000 concentration camp trucks on American highways right now, trucks that we've constructed with innocent beings inside of them. And that whole flow just came right out and pounded them. And I intentionally pounded them after the slaughterhouse video. That's when they were most vulnerable. A lot of people, again, want to play politician and coddle people. Oh, it's okay, and pat them on the back. I'm like, no, screw you. You're a slave master. You're a Nazi. This happens because of you. And it worked. You see the success. And for the people that it didn't work on, it wasn't me. It wasn't my style, and it wasn't the harshness. They weren't ready for it. They couldn't handle the truth. I used to think early on, oh, maybe I shouldn't be so harsh. Oh, maybe I should say it like this. And then I started to realize it didn't matter how I said it, because some days I was as sweet as Gandhi. Other days I was as rough as early Malcolm X. It didn't matter how I said it. It was all whether they were willing to receive the message. In fact, at University of Central Florida, I figured this out because one student raised his hand and he said, oh, Yourofsky, you're up there all arrogant, condemning us. Who the hell do you think you are? Nobody listened to a thing you said. Now, I had a gift when I walked into the classroom. I can't tell you how or why. I knew who was listening. I would literally walk in. Before I started, I go, good, bad, on the fence, good, bad. And I'd point out, I would know how everybody was going to react. I was 99% accurate. That was a good class, so I was shocked the guy said it. So I said, wait a second, you think everyone feels the way you do? So I know it. I said, well, I'm a fair guy. I'm diplomatic. Let's take a vote. Who feels like he feels? So 7 people raised their hand. I said, oh, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Interesting, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there's 40 people in the classroom. That means 33 people don't agree with you. So maybe the problem isn't me. Maybe the problem is you, and you. You came in this room with preconceived notions. You didn't want to hear the truth. You didn't want to analyze what I had to say. Other people did. And I'm not claiming those other 33 went vegan, but the best thing about my lecture tour, why it stayed so long, I was averaging 200 a year. Would you believe only 15 to 20 turned into a Jerry Springer show? It means about 180 talks, not a divisive comment, wow. Not a F you get a life. Serious questions, tell me more. Oh, it's so interesting. You know what? Yeah, half the crowd's going vegan, the other half are reducing. I'm going to take this out, do this, whatever it took. Seed has been planted. There was only a small segment that weren't grasping it. And again, there's no answer for that. I didn't know what to do at that point. And keep in mind, if you think saying, oh, I'm a plant-based person, or I'm an animal advocate, all this nonsense, all these word games people think are going to work. You think you're going to trick a meat eater, an evil meat eater that doesn't want to change because you say, oh, I'm plant-based. If the meat eater doesn't want to listen, he puts everyone who cares about animals in the same category. In fact, I heard people say that HSUS, the soft, welfarist organization, Humane Society of the U.S., they put them in the same category as the Animal Liberation Front. Because all they know is, oh, well, they speak for animals, you're all the same, when it could be worlds of difference between HSUS and the ALF. So no need to play plant-based games or say I'm an animal advocate. Say you're a vegan animal liberationist. Say you're a liberationist. Again, for the most part, people will appreciate the honesty and at least listen to you and give you a chance. But those lectures were absolutely tremendous. I again wish a lot of people were able to see it day after day, class after class. And I just had to tell close friends, I'm like, oh my God, I just converted 75 people out of 100. You wouldn't believe it. They were crying. They were in tears. They came up and shook my hand, said, you changed my life. And I want everybody to know, because sometimes people say, well, how do you know they stayed vegan? No. Gary Vegan stay vegan. You two are proof of that. Joey Carbstrong is proof. Vegan Gains. Paul Bashir. There's a whole slew of people in this movement that are Gary Vegans and Gary Vegan activists because I hit them with ethics. I hit them hard, and you stay that way. And I used to go to the same school all the time, same professor. Once I got into class, they always wanted me back. So I didn't need to solicit anymore. And they always said, man, you know that class last semester? I saw half those. They're all still vegan. They still email me, man, it was the best day of my life. You changed my life. I would see him on campus. Hey, Gary Vegan. Hey, Mr. Vegan, man, I'm still doing it. And when you hit them with the truth, and it's got to be ethically based, people with ethics stay vegan. It's the plant-based people that don't stay vegan. And those are the cheaters, by the way. I know you guys hate it as much as I do. Oh, you guys cheat? What do you mean do I cheat? Act like I'm sneaking around, raping women and molesting children too. No, when I find something to be offensive, there's no cheating. This is outrageous. But the plant-based people cheat, right? And I'll be honest. I'm an honest guy. If you eat it healthy for 6 days straight, on day 7 you have a double cheese pepperoni pizza. Yeah, I don't think it's going to affect your health that much. But ethically, you've just committed a violation. Somebody suffered and died. And as we all know, this is not based on health. Enjoy whatever health benefits you get, but this is about ethics. This is about right versus wrong. And I do have a regret. A lot of people think I have no regrets. I have regrets. I wish I took out the health and the environmental section. And just so you know, I had a battle with myself. Every single semester I started, I said, I am taking health out. I can't take this anymore. It's not about health. And I'm doing all ethics, 60, 70 minutes of ethics. And I tell the professors, and they say, Gary, just so you know, we take surveys after you leave. Health is everybody's favorite section, and then it's ethics. So then they give you the ethical stuff. I'm like, oh, man, what do I do? So I left it in. I wish I took it out. But keep in mind, I didn't know what I was doing either. Everybody thinks I had a master plan. I just did shit. I hated meetings and discussions, and let's have a meeting on the debate, and let's debate the meeting and have a discussion about the debate. Let's have a discussion about the debate about the meeting that we just had. I fucking hated sitting around talking about doing shit, and I wanted to do it. Then I analyzed it after I did it. So, man, I just went out and did stuff. That's all I did. Looked at it afterwards, and yeah, I ended up keeping it in. Maybe I should have. Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I should. I don't know, but the fact that it worked, I guess everything went as planned. Nowadays, I don't talk much about health or the environment unless somebody's just pushing that angle. But yeah, enjoy whatever other benefits you get from being ethical, but this is about ethics.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back to some of your remarks about your speech and your lecture tours. As Austin and I were preparing for this podcast, we noted how your influence and your message sets such a strong foundation for someone's, pathway into living vegan. It just sets everything right from the get-go. We've talked about how we go to sleep at night after watching your speech, and those words are still penetrating our skulls. The messages of truth that you've said here on the podcast and in the speech, in the viral speech, like those words just ring eternally as truth, and it just it lights a fire inside every vegan to stay vegan, of course, and to become active for the animals, because you describe in such vivid detail the injustices and the violations that the animals are going through. And it's just incredible what you've done in that speech and how impactful that's been. And you mentioned 2,600 lectures given over the course of many years. I'm aware that it eventually you felt like you had to take a step back and retire for a bit. So can you go into that and also talk about what brought you out of retirement in the last few months here?
Yeah, first of all, for the speech, those words, those thoughts just poured out of me quickly. I mentioned I have a crazy brain. It's a curse and a blessing. The blessing is everybody heard the speeches and all the interviews that I did. That's because at night, why I only slept 2 hours a night. As soon as I go to put my head down on my pillow, my brain says, "Wait a second, you're in a debate with Stephen Colbert and Sean Hannity, and they say this, and what are you going to say?" And I'm like, "No, I just want to sleep. It was a long day. Please let me sleep. Come on, Gary, they're going to say this. What are you going to say?" And I go, "Oh, I got something really good. Okay, can I go to sleep now?" And they're like, "No, because then they're going to say this, and what are you going to say?" I'm like, "Oh, all night long." But that's where all my ideas came from, and all these great phrasings. And and then the curse is, well, I haven't slept well for 25 years. I've read studies that if you don't get proper sleep, 3/4 of your genes can stop working properly. I got stressed out after being in the trenches for 18 years. 18 years solid. It's the end of 2014, and I'm burnt. I used to love a confrontation. Now I don't want a confrontation. I would thrive on a confrontation. I debated Ted Nugent twice. I loved it. It got me riled up, and I was ready to go. And at the end, I'm like, please, I hope people don't fight with me today. I can't take it anymore. I was stressed out. My hands were hurting. They were inflamed. My legs were hurting. I was just, I couldn't relax. And I had to take a step back. And I want everyone to know it broke my heart. Don't think I did that with glee. As I was sitting in my house, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not active anymore for them. I promised. The good news is, as I was sitting in my underwear, smoking a joint, watching SportsCenter and YouTube all day long, I'm going, you know what? I think I'm still converting vegans because my speech is on YouTube. And Erica, my ex-wife, we actually broke up last August. She would say, "I know you're out there still converting people. It's crazy that you're sitting at home more active than people that are claimed that they're active out there." So that was the only saving grace for me, is that I busted my ass for so long. The 10 years that I took off, I was still converting more people than people who were active. That was nice. And I healed myself a lot over these 10 years. I must admit, at the beginning, I was dead inside. And I made that promise to that elephant a long time ago that I'd give my life for her. I died inside a long time ago, even though I'm here talking with you. And even though I'm back in action and ready to go. So I kept that promise in many ways. And then earlier this year, I heard there was a guy from Frankfurt, Germany, near Rosenfeld, great activist. He always says that he's a Gary vegan, that I created him. He's got 7 vegan restaurants. I mean, holy shit, right? Like, that's some cool
impressive
stuff. 7 restaurants. And his daughter Zoe's opening up an 8th one, too, if it hasn't already opened already. So I called him up, and I said, don't get too excited. I haven't left my house in 10 years, but I'm thinking of heading down to Frankfurt for a visit. I totally want to see all these restaurants. He's like, oh my God, calm down. I'm just thinking about it. So then Paul Bashir calls me, and Paul and I go back at least 10 years, great friends. And we're shooting the shit, and I say to him, so what do you got up? He said, oh man, we're doing a Cube of Truth in Cologne this July. I said, no, get the fuck out of here. What? Of all the gin joints in all the world, you got to be kidding me. I'm thinking of going to Frankfurt. How far is Frankfurt from Cologne? It's like, man, it's like a 45-minute train ride. I said, oh man, this is crazy. And I'm looking up to the universe. The older I get, the more I pay attention to the universe. And that was a sign that I just could not ignore. I said, you know what? Tell all the crew at the AV demos I'm coming down. And I called her up. I just had to get out of there. So I hit Frankfurt. And also, Sasha Farm, the animal sanctuary, is in dire straits. So I wanted to do something for them. So I went to Frankfurt, did a fundraiser for them. I'm in Cologne right now, doing podcasts every day. I'm really enjoying talking with people, telling old war stories, or reigniting activists, getting people more active, whatever it takes. I'm at the Cube of Truth now for about 2 hours a day. I must admit, I don't feel comfortable there, and everyone's shocked. They're like, "What do you mean? you're the OG. I said, yeah, but the OG hasn't been on the street in 25 years. The OG needs 60 minutes in a classroom. I don't like the street. They're soldiers, though. They're warriors. I can't believe how solid and tight they are. They approach people and boom, boom, boom. Do you respect animals? How can you respect them if you don't eat them? You know, or if you're eating them, victim's position, like all this great protocol that they have, which they say is based on all my activism. I bring this up because it's kind of funny. Paul the other day scolds me for not following the protocols. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, I said, I can't follow the protocols. He says, Gary, they're your protocols. You set this up. I'm like, oh man, but I don't remember them now, right? I'm in a new age, so I'm just, rambling. I'm talking about baby stealing, which I think is the worst atrocity that we're committing against the animals these days. And so Paul's like, can you stick to the format? I'm like, I'll try, but I don't know. What's really funny is, so I took my street protest to the classroom. They took my classroom protest to the streets. And yeah, I'm having a blast seeing everybody active, and everybody here is telling me they're a Gary vegan or a Gary vegan activist, which again is crazy. I didn't realize how many people were listening. I only thought the classroom people were listening. So this is a blast, man. I'm having a really good time being alive again. I also came out here, like I said, to help Sasha Farm. And to be honest, I'm looking for a vegan goddess, and I think I found her in Spain. And I'm really, really happy, and I'm hoping something happens there. Part of me does not want to go home. I should say all of me doesn't want to go home. I'm going to Spain if she'll have me. I packed up my suitcase with as many clothes as possible, and I didn't want to go back home. So I'm excited to see what the universe has in store. I also wanted to do some kind of a business. Now, let me say this. I never once made $1 off my name, image, or likeness. That was never my goal. I wanted to inform people. I wanted to transform people. Part of me wishes I did, only so I can help Sasha Farm, but I ran into somebody, a great, cool vitamin company, Vega Vero, that's down here. They showed up at one of the demos a couple weeks ago and made a $1,000 donation to Sasha Farm on my behalf. I'm like, oh man, that's great. The guy really liked me because I turned his girlfriend vegan, and the head of R&D at the company is a Gary vegan. So I was pitching some idea that I had to them, and they might run with it, and who knows, that might pop too, so I can help Sasha Farm, because I wish I could just cut them a big check and take care of them. I'm a broke activist like most of us are, never made much money. I'm okay. I have a roof over my head, don't get me wrong. I got somebody that's been taking care of me. It's not major money, but it's enough to live on, and I'm very comfortable. But I'd like to make more just so I can help Sasha Farm. And as I'm getting older too, I'm starting to think about myself just a little more. I always have the animals first, especially all those. The first time I'm just kind of rambling now. I hope it's okay. But the first time I ever thought about myself in my activism career was when they slammed the cell door shut in 1999 for the mink liberation. And when they shut that door, and I was in a 6-foot by 12-foot cell. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck did I do, man? Where am I?
Yeah.
But I was willing to go to jail for them and willing to give my life for them. So it's been a crazy journey, and I'm just curious where this journey is going still.
It's amazing to have you back, and I mean, I can imagine, getting burned out and fed up, with things after just doing activism alone can be draining, with AV, online, what have you, but giving lectures, 200 plus a year is a different level, and it's something I think, very, very few people, I'd say actually no one can even relate to, but it's great to see you back out here. And
keep in mind, by the way, I was going to rural America. I was confronting the meat, dairy, and egg eaters. I wasn't speaking at yoga studios. I wasn't speaking at the drum circle on the beach where everyone's doing fucking sun salutes and saying mantras. I wasn't speaking at animal rights festivals. I intentionally went to places that needed to hear the message. In fact, one of my favorite places was Halifax Community College in rural North Carolina. First time I get there, the whole crowd, the whole class is in camouflage. I lean over to the professor. I said, boy, they really came to fuck with me today, huh? He said, why do you say that? We're looking at them all decked out in camo, all their hunting gear. He goes, Gary, they didn't do this for you. Welcome to Halifax Community College. This is how they dress. This is the area that you're in. But I'll tell you what, Halifax was fabulous to me. They were wonderful people. We're going vegan nonstop there too. All these rural towns, most of them absolutely loved me. And later on, as the years went by, I started to ask, how come they're so receptive here? They open up their notepads. They're taking notes. They're not arguing. And the professors would say, Gary, they can't believe that you would come to their small school and talk to them. They, like, of all the places this guy could go, they know about me. He could be at Penn State, University of Michigan, NYU, Ivy League school. I loved small rural community colleges. To me, they were there to better themselves. Unlike the students, I don't want to dog out. There were a lot of great students at all the big schools, but big school students, most of them were there because mommy and daddy wanted them there. And they all thought that they knew everything already. It was tougher for me to break them down. But when I was in community colleges, those people are going to school on their own dime. They want to get a degree. They want to better themselves. So they come in the classroom like, yeah, teach me, tell me something. So I love being at those places. I had some amazing conversions there too. Here's a cool conversion. You know, I had so many hunters come up to me over the years, and they would say, I came here to laugh at you, man. And for the first time in my life, I understand why you guys fight for animals. Thanks for explaining it to me. Now, of course, I wanted more. I'm not saying I made them vegans, but the fact that the radical vegan was being praised by the animal killing hunter, and he was saying thank you, wasn't screaming at me, go, man, bad, I get it now. No one ever explained it to me. I never understood why you guys felt this way. Thanks for doing it. But I did convert a lot of hunters too along the way. There was one hunter, San Diego State University. It's after a class, and there's 4 students hanging out in the hallway. And I would always stay as long as I could after a class. I always had people wanting more answers. But sometimes I had another lecture, a lot of times. So this day I had a half an hour, had another class. 3 people are asking questions. 1 guy's not saying anything. And then I look at my watch. I say, man, I got 7 minutes to get across campus. I have another class I got to get to. Do you have a question? I point towards this guy. And he walks over to me, reaches in his back pocket, grabs his wallet, takes out his hunting and fishing licenses, rips them up. And he says, you touched me right here. He points at his heart. I'm shocked. I still have those ripped up hunting and fishing licenses, by the way, at home in a box somewhere. And I say that I don't know what to say, but can I give you a hug? So here's the radical vegan hugging the former hunter, the newly former hunter, right? But it was such a moment, and I had these amazing moments that I wish I had on tape. I want people to know I'm not exaggerating. The effect and the stories that I have about the conversions, they were nonstop. And that's what kept me going so long. They were so successful, I just could not stop. I'm like, man, people are really, really lapping this stuff up. It was a hell of a tour, man. It was a hell of an experience, and education is the best form of activism. I don't want that to be lost on anybody. Try to find a way to teach, because keep in mind, you didn't know, I didn't know, we didn't know at one time. We were taught, somebody informed us, and boom. So it's got to be education-based, but there are other forms of activism. But education should be the main form of activism that everyone is taking part in. That's why AV is so cool. Like, I don't think street demos carrying placards, don't think it's too effective in this day and age. I wouldn't really do that. And it's because the animal abusers have learned to tolerate us for a couple hours. For a Free Friday. Like, 1 day a year, we all come out for 4 hours to protest the fur stores. Now, they used to be angry with us, call the police, harass us. Now it's like, they'll be gone at 6 o'clock. Let them scream and yell. Who cares? So try to do something that's really effective instead of all the ineffective things that we've done over the years.
Absolutely. I mean, I think education is really key, and the way that you converted like hunters and people who are in these rural communities really shows that. And it's like every time we speak to people, there's like an opportunity cost. There's like a certain amount of time, and maybe they've never heard of veganism before. Maybe they have misconceptions about it. But when we speak to them, we have the opportunity to dispel those misconceptions, to fill that void, to educate them what veganism really is, to let them really know how important this is, what the actual significance is. Like this isn't, like a joke, a laughing matter. This is life or death. This is the greatest injustice in history. So we have, just a small amount of time to fill that void. And I think, your speech really does it well, and putting that in an AV format on the street, showing the footage, the reality of the footage while speaking to, I think really hits hard. And in regards to your activism over the years and speaking to people and, learning about human psychology, how has your perspective of human psychology changed over the years through your activism?
Well, it's an interesting question. It really hasn't changed much. I have to tell you, I'm more disillusioned with our species than ever before. I don't understand the disconnect that we have. As I say this, yes, it's possible to reach people, but after 29 years, I thought we would have gotten a lot farther by now. Yes, there's more vegan food available. Keep in mind, in '96, there were Boca burgers. If you didn't like Boca burgers, you were shit out of luck. There was one veggie burger on the market. Yeah, now there's 40 different ones. But uh, the conscience, the collective conscience of humankind is tainted. It's damaged beyond belief. I don't understand how we can be at this cognitive dissonance, that this hiding from the truth, living in fantasy land. I don't understand why people hide and run. Even at the AV demos, they'll stop and peek at the screen, and it's horrifying. And then they just keep on walking. I'm like, how
Yeah.
could you just walk by? You just saw a living being being cut up into pieces, literally screaming as they were cutting her legs or her arms off, her limbs off, and people just walk by. We are a scourge to this planet. I think a lot of people know how I feel about humankind at this point. I'm a misanthrope, and understand that doesn't mean I individually hate humans. I don't. Actually, there are a lot of individual humans that I do get along with, especially guys at the gym where I'm working out all the time back home at LA Fitness and Royal Oak. I walk in the gym like, hey, what's up, Terry? Hey, Big Johnny. Hey, Chris, what's up? Hey, Mike. Hey, Adrian. I know everybody. Everybody knows me. But collectively, man, I have no love for our species, and I wish and I pray every day that something would take us off this planet, because that's how horrible we are, not only to each other, not only to the earth, but to the animals that inhabit this earth, especially the ones that have never harmed us. I'm not sure. I don't want to disappoint any newbies. I'm not sure there's much hope for humankind having an ethical awakening, which I wanted to happen, which I was hoping would happen. And if you're confused about why I feel this way, come see me in 29 years after you've been vegan. I've been doing this too long. Same arguments, same stupid objections. What about protein? Didn't God say it was okay? Animals are stupid. They don't think. They don't feel. Plants? What about plants, Gary? Don't tomatoes feel pain? I mean, the absurd things I've been hearing for 29 years, which lets me also know humans are robots. We are programmed, brainwashed robots, incapable of thinking on our own. And I just can't, I don't understand why. I wish I had the magic answer, the magic formula, how to awaken people. I don't. I know the truth works a lot, like I talked about. I know being harsh actually helps. Calling people out helps, but I don't understand our species anymore. And the reason I'm so anti helping humans and speaking out for humans, I'm tired of the hypocrisy. It's driven me crazy that every human walks around on this planet demanding life, liberty, and happiness, and they refuse to give life, liberty, and happiness to the animals. I'm tired of standing up for people who don't stand up for justice. I'm sick of it, and I'm sick of humans being placed first and animals being placed last. So my position now is just to flip. I just flipped the script.
Yep.
I want animals first, humans last. I understand deep down why humans deserve their freedom, but I'm not giving it anymore to people unless they give it out to the animals. So let's start with the animals first. Then people won't be hypocrites. People will be in a line with their ethical beliefs, and then I'll feel more confident speaking out on their behalf. But right now, it's the cows, the pigs, the chickens that we're murdering by the billion. It's the fish that we're murdering by the trillion. You know, when I started, The number that we used to use back in the 90s, early 2000s was 90 billion marine animals killed. Yeah, I've been told over the last 10 years that number is way off and it's in the trillions now. So who knows how many animals we're actually murdering? Because, by the way, marine animals aren't important enough to even count them individually. We weigh them. That's why nobody really knows. And you want to talk about beings that have been mistreated beyond belief? This hit me years ago. What do we say when people go out and kill fish? We don't say they're hunting in the water, or they're hunting, or they're killing fish. We just put an ing on fish. We go fishing, whaling, sealing. Every marine animal that's killed, you put an ing. But for the land animals, nobody goes deering. Right? We don't go cowing and chickening. We say, hey, we're killing chickens, and we're killing 40 billion chickens on the planet every year. We're killing, 107.7 million cows in America every year. We have numbers for the land animals, but the marine animals got it the worst. They got it so horrible, they don't even count them. And those octopuses at the Red Wings games, the only thing I ever found out back in 1995, which, opened my eyes, was the Superior Fish Company in Royal Oak, Michigan. They were selling 4,000 pounds of octopuses during the playoffs. How many innocent beings were ripped out of the ocean, suffocated in our atmosphere, suffered and died so a bunch of idiots in Detroit can throw their murdered body on the ice and cheer and laugh? Are you kidding me? The evilness of human beings has just blown me away and destroyed me, because I didn't start out this way, guys. I want everybody to know I started out wanting to help humans. I used a lot of examples: racism, sexism. I would actually mention the Darfur genocide. I would mention evil shit that was going on to make examples, but humans made me despise humans. This isn't just Gary being radical. No, everybody has made me hate the human race by how they act towards the animals. And I just want to point this out. In 1992, before I became vegan, 4 years, you go online, there's a rap that I did. I wanted to be a rapper. Punch in my name and punch in the Declaration of Misrepresentation. I did an anti-racism rap. So my whole life, I was concerned about how humans were being mistreated. At this day and age, not my concern anymore. Don't like hypocrisy, don't like hypocrites, and I stand up for the animals who are being abused and oppressed and exploited beyond belief, who aren't hypocrites. That's who I want to fight for right now. And this is what I signed up for, everybody. Don't be sending me hate mail. I want you to speak out for humans. I didn't sign up to be a human rights activist. I signed up to be an animal rights activist. You don't scream at the human rights people because they're not animal rights activists. I mean, what the fuck? I'm just actually following the playbook of the human rights people. You notice if you go to a women's rights march, a black rights march, they don't sit there and tell you cows on dairy farms once a year are raped, artificially impregnated, and after they give birth, their babies are stolen from them and ripped away, and the process is repeated for 7 years straight, and then they're sent to the slaughterhouse, to the hamburger factory. They don't say that. You know why? Because then they couldn't talk about the injustices that blacks and women and gays are going through. So why do we spend our time talking about their shit? I'm just following their playbook. They got it right. Because if you talk about humans, animals don't get talked about. Let's talk about animals and the animal rights movement. They're the ones who got it the worst. And the baby stealing, I want you to know, after all these years, I came up with a list in my head. I think the baby stealing is the worst thing we do to these animals. The slaughterhouse is like the 4th, 5th, or 6th worst thing in my eyes now. Think about this example. I've been using this on the streets too, not following the AV protocol, but this has been working with people. I said, there's a black woman, a white woman, an Asian woman, Hispanic woman. They're pregnant. They give birth. Whose baby is it? And everybody says, well, theirs, of course. And I knew they would say theirs, of course. I actually knew it when I came up with it. I said, okay, so cow, pig, chicken, turkey has a baby. Whose baby is it? Nothing on the Paul. And the meat eaters, the meat industries. You want to talk about an injustice, a monumental injustice. We steal somebody else's baby and then make an excuse like it's okay. We ignore it like it doesn't matter. Do you know how horrible that feeling must be to have your baby stolen from you? Think about even the guys. Think about when after your wife gave birth. You didn't give birth, but hey, that baby was, part yours. Imagine if somebody came in that room and stole your baby, what you would do, how you would feel. You'd want to kill somebody. You'd want to break down in tears. They have the same feelings and emotions, and how dare we think that they don't? Pain and suffering's the same, but their pain and suffering is much worse because they're suffering by the billion and by the trillion, counting the marine animals. It's outrageous behavior.
Yeah, but in regards to this human behavior too, one thing that I noticed is that most people care about justice very specifically to the extent as to which it benefits them. That's it. It's like if you go right outside of that box of whatever benefits them at that moment, okay, nope, I don't care anymore. Or what gives them social validation. Whatever is like the hot button news thing you see, well, if I put this flag in my bio, if I say this, I'm going to get social validation. And then they can say, look at me, I'm a good person for this specific time while ignoring, the greatest atrocity and their own victims. I
I
think,
noticed that, yeah, if it's not happening in their backyard or on their front porch, they don't give a shit. As soon as it's outside, out of sight, out of mind, right? Nobody cares anymore. And that's set up that way for a reason, right? Slaughterhouses aren't on every street corner because people won't tolerate that. The slaughterhouses aren't used in McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's advertisements. They use cartoon caricatures instead. If people had to see baby stealing and see the mutilations, the hens having their beaks sliced off fully conscious, baby pigs having their testicles ripped out so they can control reproduction, if people had to see this stuff, they might be up in arms, but it's hidden so much for a reason, and it doesn't happen in their backyard, on their front porch, and all of a sudden, people walk around with the blinders on, living in La La Land, fantasy land, and listen, it's a fun place to be. I remember it. I remember it well. In fact, those horrible moments when I had those Jerry Springer shows in the classroom, the first thing that went through my mind was, man, I wish I never went to the circus that day. Don't misconstrue, of course. I wanted, but the first thing is, oh man, oh, I wish I didn't know. Life was so much easier. It's not fun to be hated. I didn't like that, especially when prior to going vegan, I was the shit. I was the life of the party. Everybody loved me. Always had the weed, but everybody loved me anyways. The party didn't start till I walked in, and then I became vegan, and all of a sudden, oh, Gary's a dick. Have you talked to Gary lately? Well, what happened? What did he do? Oh, he likes chickens. What? Yeah, he likes pigs. He's always talking about what pigs go through. An elephant. What? I went from being cool as fuck to being a dick because I cared about somebody else who was being mistreated. This is how messed up the world is, yeah, and it totally did a number on me too. It's not fun to be hated, man, but I took it for the animals, and we all take it. I don't want to act like I'm the only one. I was in the trenches so deep, and I was confronting more people than everyone else. It hurt a lot worse. The bullets were a lot faster and quicker and penetrating on me more because I was the one out there taking it for everybody. And that was the cross that I bore for them. And I always said that I would try to absorb their pain and bear this cross. But it definitely took its toll, man. It took its toll. In fact, nowadays, I even say my brain is melted. I don't think my brain is as sharp as it used to be. And for the haters out there, don't think it's because I'm vegan. You guys have made me crazy. Society has made me crazy. I mean, at the end of 2014, when the Jerry Springer shows happened, in my head I'd say, what are they arguing about? I asked them not to rape somebody else. I asked them not to steal somebody else's baby. Why is there a fight going on? Brain melt. So I'm trying to get my brain functioning back. It's going pretty good. The more podcasts I do, I'm getting a little more. I'm like, okay, regenerating brain cells. Okay, starting to work a little better. But
Yeah.
it's tough after all these years, man. It is tough.
Yeah, I've had some of those feelings as well, and I'm sure Austin can relate, just the pain of the reality, just the pain of caring. It's like I've thought to myself in hard times, or I've had a really tough conversation with a family member who just wouldn't go vegan. Like, it's like, why do I care so much? If only I didn't, then it wouldn't be so painful. But of course, I snap out of it. We've got to have that warrior ethos when we're bringing the truth, when we're speaking up for justice. This is the scar on our shoulders that we have to carry, and we have to be those people that are bringing the truth, bringing the awareness, because that's the only way this stops. That's the only way this potentially can end, and we can make the world better. So I never look back and wish I was still ignorant and not vegan. I'm so grateful, and veganism really is a gift that we are giving to the world. Everyone who's vegan, we all say, we're the happiest thing we've ever done is go vegan and become activists for the animals. It's just such a gift, and we can see it in you when you speak, and all the impact you've had.
Best decision I ever made in my life was opening up my heart, opening up my conscience to the animal kingdom, listening to their screams and their cries, and deciding to be a mouthpiece for them, for sure. I know every vegan feels that way too. And for the ones who are timid, listen, get over it. I get it. I don't want to make fun of you because you're shy, you're timid, or whatever. But you got to speak up for them. You got to go out there and do what you can do. Just so you know, everybody thinks I'm this great speaker. Okay, maybe, but don't think that I wasn't nervous when I walked into a classroom, especially when people had their arms crossed and they were hating me. And I'm like, oh man. And then as soon as they said, go on, I said, I have to. I have to do this for them. Get over it. And I used that shyness, that nervousness. I just regenerated it. I morphed it into power, into anger. And everybody's got that capability too. We can all go out there and do something for the animals. You might not feel comfortable in front of a class. Okay, fine, but get out on the street, do something, talk to somebody, join an AV demo. Get out there and make it happen. Start confronting people at the gym, people at work. I know family members are tough too. Listen, I've never converted one family member or friend, believe it or not. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world, strangers I'm great with, people that know me never listen to me. So I know others are going through that same problem. We'll move on beyond the friends and the family. All right, get to the work people, get to the gym people, get to the church people, the synagogue people, the mosque people. I don't care. Get out of your normal environment, and you'd be surprised how many people will listen to you. And let's not forget, Margaret Mead once said that never doubt that a small group of determined people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. So it can be done, and it sucks that only a small group of people always has to explain to the larger group what's going on, what's wrong, but it's always been that way. It's always been that way. It's never been the large group understanding injustice. That's how I know vegans are right, by the way. We're the minority. Like whatever everyone's doing, whatever the crowd is doing, the crowd will get you killed. The crowd is wrong. The crowd is always wrong, especially on social justice issues. Listen to the small group of people that are trying to explain something always, and you'll be on the right side of history, the right side of justice.
I heard a bit about that on Carnism Debunks, and you're mitigating that, and that's something I found too. I was feeling crappy. What's going on here? As soon as I cut out oil and fat, I started feeling much better.
My own personal epidemiological study. I wasn't feeling great either. This is about 10 years ago, about 2014. So I'm like 18, 20 years into veganism. I'm seeing some other longtime vegans not feeling well, even getting sick, having cancer. And I'm wondering, what the hell is going on? I thought we were supposed to be immune from this stuff. So a couple of things I figured out. One, you notice that vegans always tell everybody to eat fruits and vegetables, but vegans never eat fruits and vegetables. Like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah.
You tell everybody what to eat, and we go eat Impossible Burgers, Beyond Meat Burgers, Tofurkey, and Vegan-A's, and all that stuff tastes great. Why does it taste great? Fat. It's fat. So I started piecing together, what is the common denominator that we're still sharing with meat eaters as vegans? What is it? What are we still eating that's the same? Of course, sugar crosses my mind, and I'm not going to defend sugar. It's horrible. Get rid of it. But it wasn't sugar, because I know meat eaters and I know vegans that don't eat sugar. I'm running down this list, the salt and cholesterol. I'm like, no. And fat. It's fucking fat. Everybody eats fat. That's it. In fact, the oils that we brought up. So I went to the grocery store. I looked at every oil on the market. Crisco oil, nasty Crisco, to high-end avocado oil. Every single oil is the same, 14 grams of fat per tablespoon. Now, name me one person on this planet that uses 1 tablespoon of oil when they cook. Bullshit. They take that bottle and they turn it over. So there we got 60, 80, 100, maybe more grams of fat just from the oil. If you're a meat eater, you can add another 50 to 100 or 200 grams of fat per day. If you're a common vegan eater with the mock meats, you can also add 50, 100, 200 grams of fat per day. I figure out people are eating 2, 3, 400 grams of fat per day. That is it. And mark my words, I have a couple doctors backing me up. Dr. Douglas Graham, 80-10-10. I think John McDougall backed me up on this too. But you watch in 15 to 20 years, the medical community will finally come out and say fat should be limited or eliminated. And just remember, Gary said that shit on my podcast back in July 2025. I'm always ahead of the game. So what I did 10 years ago, I said, I'm cleaning up my diet from this fat. So before last week, because this is a funny story too, where I'm at now, for the last 10 years up to last week, I have been eating 1 cup of barley for breakfast. Barley is a great grain. I think people know, and if not, they should know. The Roman gladiators, the word gladiator is barley eater, barley men. When you eat barley, you feel strong. These were the strongest people, the strongest of the strong were living off barley. So I eat a cup of barley for breakfast, no fat. And then I add either a half a cup of lentils or a whole can of beans, also no fat. For lunch was always 10 to 12 pieces of fruit, sometimes 15 pieces of fruit, most of the time in a smoothie. And dinner was always about 5 or 6 different vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, asparagus, mushrooms, carrots, green beans. Now, a couple of years ago, they finally came out with this amazing product by Big Mountain. It was called soy-free, fat-free tofu made from fava beans. 0 fat, 64 grams of protein. That was a lifesaver for me, too. I've been eating that for a couple of years. So all day long, I was only getting probably about 6 grams of fat per day, and I felt the best. I was feeling better and better every day. The inflammation in my hands and my legs was going away. I was just feeling clearer, stronger at the gym and all this stuff. And then I do a podcast about a week ago with Dr. Douglas Graham, my favorite doctor in this whole movement, 80-10-10. I always loved his stuff and how he talked about mono eating. And of course, he's right. Your body loves digesting 1 food at a time instead of 5, 10, 15 different foods throughout the day. Your digestive system's going to function better. And he always talked about in our natural state. So if we were in our natural state, walking through a tropical place, we come across a peach tree, we wouldn't walk up to that peach tree and take 1 peach and then keep on walking. We'd be like, holy shit, a peach tree. We'd eat the whole friggin' tree no matter how long it took. And then we'd move on. So it's back to the mono eating. So I'm on a show last week with him. I think it's Plant-Based News. And the host introduced us. And then Doug and I start riffing for 30 minutes, which led to my funny comment. Was there a host on the show? Did you want to jump in? He goes, I'm just enjoying you guys go back and forth. So I talk about what I was eating, which to me was a great diet. In fact, none of my friends would eat with me. Eric and I didn't eat together for the last 10 years. She's like, I can't believe how you eat. You eat so clean. My body thrives on nutritious, clean foods these days. And it does not like a nasty food anymore. I used to love a jar of Veganese a week, but no, not anymore. So Doug, people call me a curmudgeon. Doug is the king curmudgeon. I say that lovingly. I love you, Doug. But he proceeded to bash my diet. It was cooked food, and he doesn't like cooked food. He thinks it's poison. And I'm like, Doug, he's up on me, man. No, what are you saying? I have this great diet. He goes, no, we can make it greater. And you know what? I think he's right, because I've been following his advice. I'm now doing 26 bananas a day. Keep in mind, bananas are 100 calories each, so that's 2,600 calories. I've been looking to get 3,000 calories for my workouts, and I've been stuck at 2,000 for a long time. So that gives me 26. I'm putting in some hemp protein powder that gives me another 300-400 calories. I'm up to 3,000. I'm doing 4 cucumbers right after I get home from the gym. There's a couple hundred more. So I'm getting 3,000, a little more than 3,000, and I'm feeling glorious. He's right. This is great. Sometimes I would do 2. I've been doing 2 smoothies a day, 13 bananas each. I might not do a banana smoothie on one day. Like yesterday, I did 20 peaches. I'm doing peaches, 20 of them, because they're about 50 calories each, so that gives me 1,000 calories. You can also do nectarines. You can do mangoes, which are 200 calories. Do as much as you can for the calorie count that you're looking for. But I got to tell you, I feel the best. Most of the days I'm just doing bananas with the cucumbers. I feel glorious, man. I feel fantastic. Again, this isn't what veganism is about, but as a longtime vegan, you do want to feel good. You do want to look the part, and everyone's telling me, man, you haven't aged one day. And catch me when I'm shaving, too. I didn't shave for this, sorry. But when I'm shaving down, everybody still thinks I'm about 40, 44 years old. And I've noticed over the years, vegans who take care of themselves usually look about 10 years younger. Meat, dairy, and egg eaters usually look 10 years older. There's a 20-year swing, but I take care of myself and exercise too. You want to feel good. And to me, this is important because as vegans, we need to look the part. We live in a superficial world, right? People look at us and you hear the stupid comments, oh, vegans are weak, vegans are thin. And I'm at the gym going, well, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And I'm a 54-year-old man. You're in your fucking 20s and I'm bigger than your ass and I lift more than you. So stop that bullshit. Stop saying these dumb things. Vegans are this, vegans are that. What world are you living in? Where have you been? Look around. In fact, the more I look around, as I have to point out to these people, you guys are the sickly looking motherfuckers. You guys are sick and weak, or you're fat. I saw Jamie Logan, the New York activist. I was on her show a few weeks ago, went to her IG page, and there was a clip from a debate she was doing with Piers Morgan. And this fat fuck says to her, I've never seen a healthy looking vegan. Jamie was fabulous. She's a great activist, and she had great answers. But the only thing I would have added to it was, Pierce, do you own a mirror? Have you looked in the mirror lately? My question is, how fat do you plan on getting? What do you mean vegans look at you? You're a disgusting Shrek-looking motherfucker. How dare you make these statements? But that's me again. I don't mind shooting the shit with people, dogging people out. But Jamie was awesome, too. It's just, I don't mind calling people out, and I did over the years. There were times guys in the classroom would actually say, man, I don't know about you. I don't know how big you are. I'd take my shirt off and go, I flex. I go, go ahead, take your shirt off, fat boy. Go ahead, take it off. And people would laugh. I'm like, come on. You brought it up. Take it off. You want to have a push-up contest right now, too? Come on, tough guy. And he'd be like, no, man. Like, stop. When you did, people just talk shit. It's important to call them back out, right? Bully a bully. That was my style. If you were nice, I was nice. You were sarcastic, I was sarcastic. You were mean, I was mean. You were a bully. Now I'm the king bully. I'll bully you back. So vegans, stand up for all this stuff. Don't be afraid to call out these people that say vegan this and vegan that, especially when they're fat, out of shape, and they look like shit.
Absolutely, man. That's the default of society, right? If you look around, everyone's out of shape, everyone's overweight, everyone's sick, and then they have the audacity to talk about vegans, to talk about vegan. It's like, look, compare, compare our lifts, compare our body composition. I think it's so important for us to be fit, to be healthy, eat well, work out. Just because it mitigates the stress that we have, that we endure. It presents us in a good light, and then of course it can keep us in the game longer. Not just in the game of activism, but of life, right? And I want activists to live long. So you're absolutely right on that.
And don't be afraid to point this out. I used to love doing this in Q&A when they would challenge me more about health issues. I said, wait a second. Do we live in a vegan world? I said it on purpose because I wanted them to say hell no. And they usually say hell no. I said, okay, good, because it ain't a vegan world. So how come there's a drugstore in every corner? Sometimes 2 or 3 on the corner. I thought you guys were getting everything you needed. How come there's all these vitamins? Why is there a vitamin industry? You mean for the 5 vegans in this city, there's a whole entire vitamin industry? How come? So point out, how come there's all this sickness? How come you guys scream about health care? I thought you guys were getting everything you needed and that meat, cheese, milk, and eggs kept you healthy. How come everybody that you know is sick? How come? Just point that out. Don't be afraid to call them out on their bullshit. And you know what? They back down because there's no answer unless they're going to lie.
All right, sorry guys for any internet issues. We'll try to piece it together in post. But one question I had for you, Gary, is if you could snap your fingers and one person would become vegan instantly, who would that be?
Wow, that's a great question. Eminem.
Yeah.
If Eminem became vegan, the shit that he could come up with and rap about would be
Yeah.
amazing. I would love, and I always think I could convert anybody. And if I just had 20, 30 minutes with M, man, I could make him see this and he would just lambaste everybody about not being vegan. Um, yeah, Eminem would be great. In fact, I used to be a rapper. I still come up with a few bars every once in a while. I came up with one. Man, you as soft as feminine parts, but I'm like Eminem painting a portrait of Bruce Lee. That's martial arts. Used to give love to everybody, but that's partial hearts. Now it's the animals only. When I say go vegan, don't have a cow, man. That's only partially Bart's. I want Eminem to hear some of
It's
this and be like,
fire.
yeah, I can flow with Gary. In fact,
Yeah.
my declaration of misrepresentation rap, the Funky Bass team did my music. The Funky Bass team were the people that originally did Eminem's music. So the running joke that I have is they were deciding which white Detroit rapper to go with, me or M. They made the right choice. Eminem was the right choice. Don't go off on me, M. You're the fucking king. You're the god. You're the lyricist of all lyricists. But I do have a little connection there. I wish I could get through to him
Yeah.
somehow. I wish he'd go check out that
Yeah.
declaration rap too. He might dig it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great choice. I mean, I love Eminem's music. I grew up listening to him, and you're right. Like the kind of music he could create after, learning about this, he cares about justice, for human issues. And I just can only imagine the music he'd create when he understood the vegan message, and it would be very, very influential. So I think that's a great choice. Yeah.
It'd be stellar. It'd be something special, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can imagine how hard he would be going if he, really got it and was on, Gary's level as far as understanding the reality of the animal holocaust. Man, he'd be going hard.
Right,
And
right.
I'm just wondering, what's your fitness regimen like? What do you do in the gym?
I go every day. I almost never take a day off from the gym. If I do a 90-minute to 3 hour walk. I started this a few years ago because I caught a rib injury, and that shit's brutal. When you get a rib injury, you can't do anything. It's hard to stand up. God forbid you should sneeze. I sneezed once. I thought I was gonna die. Somebody told me though, as soon as the rib injury, calmed down, I should go for a walk. And I was in that mindset. Well, a walk? What the hell is I gonna do? Well, I went because I hate not doing nothing. So um, I went for a walk for 90 minutes. Came back dripping sweat saying, "Oh my God, I'll never make fun of walking again." That's a pretty decent off-day exercise. But I'm usually at the gym every day. I do the 4-day body routine. I do legs on one day, back on the next, chest on the next, shoulders on the next. I throw in bis and tris throughout. My leg days are really brutal. In fact, down here, I just re-added hip thrust, which are really tough to do. But I added hip thrust. I'm doing the sled now. I just started last year. So I'd always avoided that pulling and the pulling from the sled, and I would see people do it, and I was like, I don't want to do it. And one day I was squatting with my buddy Chris, and he goes, "Let's go do this sled." I'm like, "Fuck that, you go do the sled." I'm watching him from across the gym though, and he's struggling, and I'm feeling like a dick. I'm like, "All right, show me what to do." Just had one plate on, one plate. I pushed it down about 50 feet, 60 feet, I don't know, 100 feet, whatever that whole pathway at the end of the gym was. I had to lay down on the ground, spread eagle. I'm like, oh my God, this is the best exercise ever. So I actually got up to 9 plates over the next eight months or something, pulling it. The sled is great. I didn't find one here though the first 30 days, but this gym I'm doing it now. So I'm just doing 4 plates because, man, God forbid you should miss a month of doing something. Your body's like, start all over. I'm like, no, I don't want to start over. So the
Yeah.
sled is great. Uh, I was doing front squats for the last few years too. Um, Front squats are really tough. The back squats, I kind of caught an upper back injury over the years. But by the way, wasn't in the gym. All these injuries that I'm mentioning, I noticed that all the weights that we throw around at the gym, I now get hurt when I sleep wrong. I sit on the couch wrong. I stood up too fast. I'm like, what the fuck, man? I'm lifting hundreds of pounds at the gym, and that's fine. But I sat on the couch leaning like this one night. I'm like, oh fuck, my neck. What did I do?
Yeah.
This is crazy. We all laugh. All the 50-plus-year-olds at the gym are like, oh, I just got up wrong. My knee hurt. My elbow hurts. My shoulder hurt. Never from the gym. It's always something else. So I started doing front squats. I'm enjoying doing everything, man. You know, I have a regular routine. I'm not going super heavy these days because I'm more into wanting to look good than be stronger. And people keep complimenting me that, hey, man, you look fantastic. So that's what it's all about. It's just getting in the gym and doing something. But I got to be active every day. And I can't tell you the last time I missed a day. It might have been the rib injury a couple years ago where I just couldn't do anything. But I hate sitting around. I hate lethargy. It's a horrible thing. And for everybody out there, too, get active. And I don't care if you're just walking. Go walk for 60 minutes. Go walk for 90 minutes. Trust me, you will gain some. You will get some benefits from that.
Yeah, Austin and I are on the same page about this. I work out 6 days a week and do a lot of calisthenics, a lot of weighted pull-ups, weighted dips. You know, I do squats, deadlifts, and I think it's absolutely essential that vegans take care of their health. You know, like you said, the world is superficial, so they're going to look at, you know, how you look, and if you look malnourished or unhealthy, you know, it's not the best look for, you know, plant-based diet. So it's very important that vegans take care of their fitness and eat well, for sure.
You got to look the part. And by the way, pull-ups, I think pull-ups are the hardest thing at the gym. Hands down. It is. I don't understand why this shit is so hard. When COVID hit, I was actually up to doing 4 sets of 9, which to me was tremendous. I wish I was doing more. And then COVID hit, the gym shut down, came back. I'm back to 3, 4, or 5 pull-ups. I'm like, why is this shit so hard? It's the hardest thing. Just your own body weight pulling it up. But, you know, I was squatting back. I was doing 275. I would go in the gym a couple of years ago when I was really into squatting. I just started 225. I would do 225, 235, 245, 255, 65, 275, all for anywhere from 3 to 6 reps. And I loved, that was my favorite shit to do. And then I caught the sitting on the couch wrong back injury. So I stopped my fuck because I wanted to get to 315, which I never got to. And mind you, I'm doing this as a 50-year-old man who's been vegan for 20 plus years. Some guys at the gym challenged me. I'm like, all right. I actually got up to 290. I did 290 for one. It was nice. It felt good too, nice and deep.
Nice.
I kind of missed that. Actually, I just started squatting this week again. So who knows? Maybe I'll get back up to 290 again.
Hey, well, maybe we'll see a Gary Yourofsky fitness page.
You know what? If things work out with the goddess from Spain, she is a beast in the gym. I want to do training videos with her and show she knows everything about the human body. I can't wait to do some videos with her. It's gonna be great.
I want to say too, outside of the things we discussed, Gary, I've heard so much of your content, and there is so much I agree with you on. You know, there's a thing that you've been saying on your podcast, like, you know, we always disagree with someone on like one thing. You can't agree on everything, but you know, we can still get along or be friends. With you, I tend to agree with pretty much everything you say, and if I don't agree with you right there in the moment, I understand your rationale, and I get
That's
you.
all I ask. Like, people feel what I'm saying. I'm not saying it because I'm being a dick. Like this is, and I'm allowed to feel a certain way. I don't get it, and I don't get the cancel culture. So what? You disagree? So what? Big fucking deal. So just say, you know what, I don't like Gary's position on human rights anymore, but man, that's one hell of a fucking animal rights activist. Okay. That's what I signed up for. Say he shines as an activist for animals and everything else, he's off base. Okay, I don't care. So you're allowed to have that opinion. But the whole, like, get rid of Gary, hate him, don't listen to him. What? Why? I speak for animals. I don't understand why you would do that. You know, the people down in Frankfurt, there were some Gary haters. They were trying to ruin the fundraiser for Sasha Farm. Now listen, the money wasn't going to me. I would understand if the money was say, oh, I'm giving it to Gary, I don't want to. Okay, I was doing it for the animals. So make the donation, $119, and say, Gary sucks, but here's $119 for Sasha Farm, I'd have been like, fine, great, okay. That's all I want. Say what you want about me, but know that I do things on behalf of the animals. So I don't understand why people just disagree on one thing and then they have to get rid of everybody. We can't be friends anymore. Tired of it. The older I get, the more tired of it that I really am. Because the truth is, and listen, I can battle with the best of them. I don't want to. Why can't we just all fight for the animals and whatever disagreements? Because there's so many issues. Don't tell me we're agreeing on everything: pro-life, pro-choice, pro-gun, anti-gun, Israel, Palestine, trans men and women's sports. I mean, there are a fucking ton of issues that we're going to have disagreements on. It doesn't mean the person's a horrible person. It's okay. Well, I think you're off base on that, but I agree with you on this. Okay, that's fine. I got friends on both sides of the Israeli-Palestinian issue. It's fine. Don't call me a racist, and I won't call you a Nazi. Just, okay, you see it this way, I see it this way. Okay. Doesn't matter anyways. That's what kills me. The people act like our opinions about what's going on in Israel and Palestine is going to have any fucking weight. Are you kidding me? It's like somebody actually, and that's with animals too. Somebody texted me yesterday and said, Gary, can you speak about the cats being tortured in China? What the fuck do you think I'm going to do over here in Cologne, Germany, when shit's going on in China with the cats being tortured? Chinese activists have to take care of that. I can't do anything there. And people would do that to me back when I was in America 20 years ago. How can you condemn the dog eating in Seoul, South Korea? No, there's chickens being eaten here. You take care of the dog eating stuff over there. I'll take care of the chickens and the turkeys and the cows here. Everybody has to understand your voice doesn't carry that much weight in a distance, right? From afar. It's very little to no weight whatsoever, especially in human rights, political issues. When governments are fighting each other, your opinion doesn't mean shit. Now it's back to I want to put a halo over my head. I think you brought it up earlier. Is that I take this position. It's the cause du jour. Everybody's going to love me because I took this position. But you know how many positions that people aren't taking that are important? What about for the human rights people that never mention the gays in Uganda being killed or imprisoned for being gay? It's funny how they don't get any mention, but people want to talk about the cause du jour, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Well, what about what's going on in the Sudan? There's some horrible shit going on there too. Nobody brings it up anymore because that's not the cause du jour. But anyways, focus on veganism. I love this the most because as a vegan, you can make a difference every single day to animals by not eating them, not wearing them. This is where change can happen. This is where your voice and your actions actually mean something. Go vegan, live vegan, be vegan.
Absolutely, well said. And I think all of this infighting in this movement and all of this aggression that's detracting from, the greatest injustice in history, to me it shows like a lack of concern for the animals. If people are really focus on this issue, really focus on ending it, we're not going to care about everyone's opinion on all of these other little subjects. We're going to be focusing on the mission, right?
Yeah.
Focus on the animals. This is where it matters. This is where you can actually, this is why I love veganism too. The majority of all other issues you can't do shit about. Veganism, we can do something about. We can end the mass murder of cows and pigs and chickens by simply not eating them. You want to affect something tremendously? Convince everyone to not be vegan. You'll save billions and trillions of animals, billions of and trillions of babies being stolen every year, billions of mutilations. You could actually affect with your voice, with your lifestyle, with your actions. Veganism is where it's at. Everything else is really just lip service.
Yeah. Absolutely. And another thing we can potentially do is donate to Sasha Farm and, sanctuaries in general and actually make a difference for the animals who survive the animal holocaust and just make their lives a bit better. So that's one thing I wanted to, bring it back to is if you're watching this, donate to Sasha Farm. We do activism and we help end this injustice, but we owe it to the animals for what we've done in the past to give back to them, take some percentage of our money and make a difference for the survivors.
Even though I think meat eaters should be funding sanctuaries because they're the evil fuckers out there causing all this pain, this falls on the vegan community. if we're going to go out and demand justice for cows and pigs and chickens and turkeys and goats and sheep, when they end up at a sanctuary, it is on us to make sure they are cared for. And please donate to Sasha Farm. And if it's not Sasha Farm, donate to your local sanctuary. Donate some time, volunteer. They always need help. Sasha Farm is near and dear to me. I've been going there for 30 years. The old owner is demanding that we pay him upon his retirement for the 50 acres of land, which I don't understand. I don't want to get into, but it's a fair price. We checked with the real estate agent. It's $675,000. So we got to come up with that money to pay him off. Otherwise, Sasha would be doing just fine. We usually bring in $250,000 a year. That's what we need to run the place. But now that we're behind the 8 ball with the $675 land payment, we really need a lot of help. So I would appreciate if people did send something to Sasha Farm, sashafarm.org. Do something. Keep in mind, if you don't like me, good news. I don't get 1 penny from Sasha Farm for doing this. I'm the ambassador. I volunteer my time. I've been volunteering there for 30 years. Nothing goes to me, no payments. The only payments are to Shara Jones, who deserves it. She's the animal care manager. We got some assistants. I think 3 assistants get $21 an hour. Other than that, we got volunteers. And we're just feeding the animals, building fences to protect them from predators and from who knows what, building more barns for them, medical care. Everything goes to the animals except a few payments to the people that actually deserve it. So send that money in. It's a paradise. Go online, by the way, punch in my name, and then punch in Sasha Farm. I did about 6 videos around 10 years ago. You can see me playing with the animals. It's really fun and cute. They were all freestyles, so it's not like you're getting a lecture, although I did start preaching a little. But you can see me petting the pigs' bellies, getting them to turn over. Kissing Bima the cow, which is a joy beyond belief. And I got Bima purring. I didn't know cows can purr. This is how happy Bima was hanging out with me and Erica that he started purring. It's amazing to see the animals when we really never get to see them in person. This is why I say go to a sanctuary. Most vegans never hang out with the animals that they're always helping. It's really weird to me. So you should go see how cool chickens and turkeys really are, and goats and sheep and pigs and cows, and they're just amazing creatures, just like dogs and cats, just like the critters we love. Give them a chance too, and guess what? They want a belly rub too. They want their tushy smacked too and tap, right? They want some treats too. They want to play as well. So go hang out with the animals, help Sasha Farm, help your local sanctuary, and let's do what we need to do as vegans and save the animals that have been saved from horrible places and make sure they have a long, healthy life.
All right. Thank you, Gary. I think that's a good place to kind of wind this episode down. It's been an absolute honor having you on today. We're so grateful to have some of your time today. Where can our listeners go to follow more of your work?
I guess go to my Instagram account right now. It's Real Gary Yourofsky. There is one that's called The Real Gary Yourofsky. It is me, but this ancient man who doesn't know technology can't find the password to get back on, and it was connected to an old email that I don't have. So every time I say I forgot my password, it's going to an email that doesn't exist, that they won't let me back in. So just take the off of it. Real Gary Yourofsky Instagram. Over the next month or so, I'm going to be getting on all social media stuff. Once I get somebody to help me with this stuff, because I don't get it, but I'm going to get on all the platforms. I'm going to start preaching. I'm going to start dropping knowledge, telling stories, encouraging vegans to be more active, giving people better arguments that have worked for me in the past. In fact, I just posted a bunch of cool ones about plants and animals, the whole plant feels pain shit. I got about 3 or 4 posted on my Instagram account now. They're pretty funny. I might have a couple more. I'm going through old notes and stuff. I used to jot down ideas and thoughts. Remember when I couldn't sleep at night? These are the crazy things. I'm like, wait, I got something really funny. What if a tomato was drowning and a dog was drowning? You know, they always give us, what if a dog and a baby were drowning? Who would you save? So now I think, well, what if a dog and a tomato were drowning? Would you jump in and save the tomato? Really? You
Yeah.
fucking idiot! Stop it. So, anyways, I have George Carlin, Larry David, and Mel Brooks flowing through my veins. I'm a comedian at heart, so I definitely want to be humorous and drop some sarcastic, truthful knowledge. But definitely check out the Instagram account. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed talking to you guys. This was fantastic.
Likewise.
Gary, thank you so much for your time. It's been a true honor to meet you. You're a great inspiration to me and to many other activists. So, keep it up. It's great to see you back. And everyone, thanks for watching. Sorry about the technical issues. Peace.
Yep. Peace
Peace
out.
out. Peace out.
The pigs? When have they ever harmed and killed anybody? How dare we think that we're better than them? Look at this face. Pure bliss. Pure beauty. They're so pretty. Look at this hair. Look at this face. Oh. Time. I speak turkey. Look at these creatures. They're so wonderful.
Our mission here at Sasha Farm is to rescue abused, neglected, and unwanted farmed animals and give them the quality of life that they deserve. We give them that opportunity to be themselves, and we also educate the public and others on how they are just like your companion animals. We have at the moment about 200 rescued animals, and they range from cattle to equine, which include mules, donkeys, and also horses. And we also have an emu, we have peacocks, we have chickens, we have guinea hens, we have goats, we have sheep, we have potbelly pigs, we have ponies, and we have big pigs. Olivia, Ollie, she was on an Amish meat farm, and her leg had been, they thought, broken for over a month, and they ended up bringing her here. And when she came here, it wasn't broken, it was definitely really badly infected, not taken care of, but overall her health was wonderful. So we took her to state decided to amputate the leg to give her the best quality of life, and now she's just living her life freely and happy as our tripod. So Lazarus was the sheep that was under a year or around a year old, who was starving to death, literally emaciated, at the auction house. And luckily Brees and Chase, who work for us at Action for Animals as well, they were able to rescue him from the slaughterhouse. They brought him here, and he was withering away, not doing well, and luckily MSU was able to step in and take care of him. They got him healthy enough to come back here, and now he's thriving, and it's been almost a year, and he's living happily, as you can see. Daisy Bell was actually born a twin, and twins, when they're female, when they're born, normally they don't reproduce. So on a dairy farm, she wasn't worth anything. She wasn't profitable. So they basically threw her in a corner to die. And luckily, another neighbor heard of her plight and brought her home. Same thing. They couldn't take care of her. She was big. She's a cow. She ended up having pneumonia, and she has cataracts. So she's one of our special needs cows. That's why she's with the goats and sheep, because the other cows probably would bully her. And Bima, he and his brother were going to be working oxes, so they were supposed to pull plows and do whatever else on an urban farm, an urban garden. Unfortunately, fortunately for us, I should say, it just didn't work out, and they both came here, and unfortunately his brother Dharma passed away shortly after he got here, unexpectedly. And then Bima had infections in his horns, and luckily MSU, again, they stepped in and they were able to take the horns off from causing him any harm. And now he is 12 years old and probably the happiest cow in the whole wide world, like a big fluffy hound dog. My heart is just so full knowing that I have all of those other beings that I get to love and see grow and happy. Those animals mean everything to us, and that's why we're here.
It's so nice to be with you. Oh, hey, Mr. Turkey Poo. Oh, yeah. I can hang out with these critters all day long. Humans, I got a time limit. Usually an hour or two, man. I got to split. These guys, I can be here all day. Look at this. Look at this light blue, red. Oh, he's coming at me. What a beauty. You want to get pet? Is that what you want? Hi, sweetie. Hi. Oh, you're so nice. So nice.